Hey team, it's Les. It is early in the morning, October 7th, 2021, and we're getting ready for the trading day tomorrow. We're looking at futures, and at the moment, futures are nice and bright green. So we're getting ready for our follow through day. In Can Slim, you want to see about 3 to 4 follow through days before you get ultimate confidence and stepping back in the markets. We are getting in a little bit early here and looking for the first sign of a reversal in the S&P and the Qs. We've been talking about this for quite some time on Twitter, and have been watching closely at the markets. So if the markets do end up staying green throughout the day, then I think it's time to get a little bit more bullish and start adding and legging on to our existing positions and adding new positions. So let's get aggressive. So I want to also start showing with you a couple of charts and potential setups, just really so that you're prepared, you know what the levels are. You don't necessarily have to wait for us. If you're more aggressive, you feel confident, you can start legging into these positions. We'll call as many of these as we can, both formally and making some unofficial calls. But use your discretion, figure out based on your time frame, your sort of ability to jump in and out of positions and play accordingly. The candle glance that I have here is about 8 charts. We could go through a ton of different charts, guys. Honestly, at this point, a number of different setups are coming up, and you could literally potentially buy the effing dip on any of these stocks. But our sense is if you're going to buy stocks, start with the ones that you think are stronger stocks in the market, the ones that we think will rebound the best. And they could be a mixture of large cap or mid cap stocks. There may be a couple of small cap stocks, but I would start by saying go after the mid cap and the large cap ones first. So I've got 8 stocks here: Digital Turbine, Etsy, Monday.com, SPSE, Task, Us, DigitalOcean, DLocal, UPWORK, Wheels Up, and Zoom Info, just as a couple of examples here. All of these share sort of a similar trade, and that is they are all over the 50 DMA. This is this green line. In the past, we kind of represented this as the 200 DMA, but I've switched that up in this candle glance. And just wanted to show you how all of these are now over the 50 DMA, or right over the 50 DMA. This is important because it's shows that these stocks are relatively strong relative to the rest of the stocks in the market. There are a couple of other stocks that are starting to reverse, but honestly, we want to go after the stronger ones first. A couple of them have already moved, like Unity, like Cloudflare, but we want to start looking at the ones that are set up to go higher. So let's look at these right now in no particular order, but you can kind of see that they all sort of have similar setups. They're all above the 50 DMA. They sort of all either touched or are kind of bouncing a little bit off their 50 DMA, and they all got that look of curving higher, and that for me is the first sign of a stock that is getting ready to get set up to move. So let's look at these in no particular order, look at the levels, and go from there. And my apologies, these are 10 stocks, not 8. It's late in the night, so my count is off by 2. All right, let's get into it. We'll start looking at Digital Turbine first. We talked about this earlier today. Beautiful head and shoulders setup. Broke over 68, came back, retested that 68 period, went back up now. Again, I think if the market continues to move higher, we might be able to see a break now above 76. So that's the level we're looking at right now. Let's take a quick look at the candle glance. It looks ugly at first sight, but this is a stock that's holding above its 50-day moving average, actually the 200-day moving average, and over the 50-day as well. So it's all curving up higher. If you look at the weekly chart, it'll start getting a little bit clearer for you guys. You can see very clearly right now that the stock is now starting to make its move over the pivot. The pivot at this point is 75.02. Stock's at 74.92. If it can move over 75.76, then we're going to start seeing some real movement. R1 here, the next move is like $80 and then 96, and then 109. So there's lots of room to move on the upside. Sometimes it's not even clear. So what we do is we'll zoom out even more, and what we'll do is we'll remove the pivot points because sometimes that tends to make things a little bit clearer here. And we'll go a little bit closer. Let's go back about 2 years. and now you can see very clearly what has happened. The stock's gone from 102 to 47. Guess where it found support? Right at this 47.57 mark, which was where the monthly 21 EMA is. Perfect bounce on these moving averages. Now starting to move back up. MACD sort of kissing the red line and might be potentially moving back up here. The month's just started, so we could see a move to the upside here. Again, very, very bullish digital apps in the long run. Let's take a quick look at Etsy. So Etsy e-commerce site, along with Amazon, Shopify, etc. It's a choppy stock on the daily. So I think we may need to zoom out a little here. Look at the weekly, but you can see very quickly now. This is a stock that's over its 50 DMA, right, at 205.71. Stock's at 209.53. So we'll see where it goes now. It could easily, we want to see a move over 210, which will take it to 210, then 213, then 219. But e-commerce is still doing well, and so we're seeing in most of 2021 the stock's been sort of absorbing its massive gains from. It's like it went double, tripled, and so it's spending most of its time basing here. So what we want to see now is a move over this 200, 220, 240 mark. This 240, sort of 240, 242 mark is going to be the line in the sand, which will really help us determine if this stock goes higher or lower. So still in sort of consolidation mode. I like the stock for the long term. We've used Etsy both as customers and as merchants, so love the site. Very, very easy to use. Lots of really, really unique goods here. So key here is to see if it can move for a trade up to 240, and at the 240, 242 mark, line in the sand to figure out what happens next. For now, this is probably just a trade, and then 242 we can decide what to do next. All right, next one is Monday.com. Monday.com is a project management software, kind of in the same sort of space as Trello and Atlassian and Asana, which has made an incredible move. So you can see right now Monday.com is making a pretty decent move as well. Went to 420 from its IPO at 160. Wow, amazing. But it has sort of retraced its steps back to the 50 DMA, and you can see very nicely bounced off the 50 DMA, is now back over the 10 EMA, and now looking like it's getting set up to move higher. You can see this nice downtrending sort of channel here. If I just draw this very quickly, doesn't take long for you to see that the stock has been in a nice sort of retracing pattern and just falling right over its pivot. The pivot's at 338.79, stock's at 348.30. What we want to see now is a move over 350, 351.35, and man, this could just do an ultimate ripper back to 420. So this is a Momo stock. Stock looks like it's starting to outperform the market. Stochastics Williams percentage hours oversold. MACDs look like it's turning up. This is looking like it's set up to go higher. So this one is a nice Momo play if it can break above 351.35 for a target of 359, then 371, then probably back over 420. That's Monday.com. I'm going to skip over. I'll show you guys very quickly SPS Commerce. This one's very interesting. This has already kind of made an incredible run. Went from like 100 to 170, now retracing back up. This is a 100% CAN SLIM stock, so it meets all the criteria of a CAN SLIM stock. I don't know if this is a Momo stock. It can be if it wants to be on the daily, but you can see a nice tight flag pattern here being formed. So if it breaks this flag pattern, it's already above the pivot line. It's well above the 50 DMA. It's broken over. It's over the 10 EMA at 159.86. Stock's at 160.177. We'll see if it can break above. If it can, it'll easily go back to the highs at 170. Again, risk to reward's not great, but I'd say if you want a nice, strong CAN SLIM stock, this would be one of the ones to play. Again, SPS Commerce currently at 160.177, probably target of 170, stop under 155. All right, DigitalOcean, we've talked about this earlier. This one's an amazingly strong stock. Again, just like the others, creating this very, very nice flag pattern. Let me just draw the flag pattern really quickly. Give me a second. And voila, we drew the pattern, so you can see very clearly a nice flagging pattern here going off, creating a series of lower highs, lower lows, but it looks like it's nicely flagging. Stocks above both the 21 EMA and the 10 EMA, currently at 82.39. What we want to see now is a break above 83.84, and this can then rocket higher. If I pull back and take a look at the weekly, doesn't take very long to see this is a very, very strong stock basing over here and getting ready to move up. R3, R2 shows this well over 100 and 125. So we love this stock for the long term. I would be a buyer on strength. So again, this is DigitalOcean, 82.39, potentially going to get ready to make a run to 100, 125 if the market behaves. All right, next one is DLocal. This is another kind of new leader, IPO, somewhat richly valued, but you can see it's been basing over here. Again, stocks over both the 50 MA as well as the 10 EMA, currently at 58.58. We want to see what happens now if it can break above 59.39. The high is somewhere around in the 70s, so there's a little bit of a nice upside here. I would be a little bit more careful playing DLocal. This can be a Momo stock, but we'll see how it behaves. We want to buy this into strength if we're buying it. I likely will not call this one. If we call it, likely it will be an unofficial play. We'll see how it first moves above 59, then 61. If it shows some strength, we'll potentially call it. Current price is 58.58. Probably target is somewhere around 70, 72.5. Again, let's just take a quick look at the weekly. Might give you some additional clues. Again, the stock's sort of right, kind of peaking over that 10 EMA at 58.87. So it's in this still in creating a base between 50 and kind of 72. And we'll want to see you want to see the box break to the upside with some volume. If it can do that, you can kind of start seeing where the next resistance levels lie, right? 70, 85, 105, but needs to break above the box first. So that's DLocal. Let's take a quick look at Doximity. We called this earlier today, really liking the behavior of this stock. Again, another new leader. You can see some nice kind of bouncing patterns here, bouncing at 105, kind of breaking at 70, scaring off a bunch of investors, paper hands, and now a sort of nice break above both the 50 MA and the 10 EMA. Stock's currently at 86.15. What we want to see now is a move over 87, and then you'll see a quick move to 89 and then 94. If we break above, and you can see very quickly also, Williams percentage R is turning up, MACD is turning up. All the performance relative to the total market is turning up. So all the right things are happening with the stock. Like this one already, we're already long, and you can see this is already peaked above the 10 EMA and turning. Like this turn is what matters for us. And you can see very easily we've got 105, 120, 155 on the docket. Again, the market cooperates. It won't all happen in a straight line, but will likely kind of zigzag into this 155 zone. So that's Doximity for you. Current price 86.15. All right, next is TACAS. This is another player very similar to EPAN and Globant. But if I pull up, the chart, you can see right now it just went from a high of 85 all the way to 55, so somewhere close to like a 25% drawdown. You can see real quickly that there's now an opportunity to get this on a dip, about 30% drawdown now from the highs. At its current price, we're at 25% discount, but also you can see that there's this like very nice sort of falling wedge being created at the same time, completely oversold. MACD is kind of getting ready to turn. So you got all the makings of a sort of a turnaround stock ready to happen here. We're long this name, and there's an ability to kind of buy the dip and get this back on the road. We want to, its current price is at 62.85. We want to see a move again over 62.81, 63. Then you'll see 66, 68, 72. If we zoom out very quickly, let's take a quick look, you'll see prices just hanging right at this 10 EMA and bouncing up. So gotta give this a little bit of space. As a new leader, it can be volatile, but you can see the next sort of box being created here. That box breaks to the upside right here at above sort of this, let's see, at this 74, 72 mark, then I think we're on the way to 80, 87, 95, and 119. So that's Doximity currently, TACAS, sorry, currently at 62.49. And we're trying to see if we can initially get a move to 75, and then line in the sand breaks above and could potentially double from here. Next one's UPWORK. UPWORK's an old favorite, the sister stock to Fiverr, but seems to be outperforming Fiverr right now. It's really interesting. We like both stocks, but recently Fiverr has been underperforming UPWORK. It looks ugly on the daily, so maybe what we need to do is zoom out to the weekly so we can see what's happening. Very similar to Etsy, this thing's been like on a tear since the March 19, 2020 lows, has been absorbing most of its gains since 2021. So it's a play very, very similar to Etsy. We want to get a break. Currently it's at price at 49.34. We'll see what happens. If it can move, it's already sort of peaking above the pivot. The next move really here is about $60, so that gives you about $12 upside from a swing trade perspective. But the line in the sand is really at this right above this 61, 62 mark. And if you can break that, then I think game on. It's oversold on the weekly and returning back. We can see sort of 70, $80. Need to zoom out a little bit here because this is an old stock. You can kind of see how it's behaving here. It's behaving and holding this 10 EMA like a champ. So, long term, we could likely see 60 to 65. But again, an old leader. We like this for the long term. You could use this as a trade, just very quickly fill this gap. Or you can hold it for the long term. Last but not least, Zoom Info. Again, a newer leader, IPO'd last year and has been sort of breaking out the stage 1 base. Went to 68, came back to 58, gave a little bit of this back. Now trying to peak above, both the 50 DMA and the 10 EMA. Price is currently at 62.56. 50 EMA is at 62.69. It's just peaking. We'll see what happens here. Nice accumulation, regardless of the price moving down, tells us that institutions are accumulating this dip. We're also seeing a nice turn on performance. And if we zoom out to the weekly, we'll maybe give us a little bit more clarity on the stock. So you can see the stage 1 base here and this break above this 55, 58 mark, breaking to 68 and then kind of pausing here for a minute. This is the next box that needs to get broken. So if you're holding this for a trade, you're going to go over 62, probably get to 68, 70, line the signs at 70, see how it behaves here. If it goes back above 70, then game on to 75 and then 90. Like this stock for the long term, where you could use this as a play as well. Pretty strong when it comes to accumulation. So there you have it, guys. Again, futures, just checking one more time. It's still positive. Gosh, anything is possible. We saw the market go from bright, red to green. The total opposite can happen. So first things first, let's see if the market can behave. If the market can behave, then here are the stocks that we're going to watch for an upside move. We're already long DigitalOcean. We're long, we're long a few of these stocks, but some of them look ripe for a move up again, like Monday.com, Etsy, Task. So, pick your spots. Again, when the market is very, very forgiving, that is the exact time when you want to be a little bit more aggressive. So that time may be coming for us. We'll keep an eye out, keep you guys posted. Again, trade wisely. We're glad you're here with us, so let's make the most of the situation. We'll talk more soon.